Good morning, Jenna here. I hope everybody is doing well. Today I would like to talk to you guys about financial sovereignty. Today is a full moon. It is October 6th. It's a full moon in Aries. And from what I hear, this one packs like a bit of a punch, but don't they all? Whatever. Um, Anyways, I was sitting here pondering life, labor, living. Right. And I was thinking about the concept of financial sovereignty, which has been heavily on my mind for, probably like the last 2 years. I actually have a bunch of backlogged readings to do for their financial sovereignty readings. And I had it on my like roster to get handled for well over like a year. And then I almost did it in July, but never was able to. And then on the Lionsgate, I did one of them. Have a plan to do like a pick a card ones. However, the readings ran really, really long. Uh, Notably so if we're talking about financial sovereignty. So what is financial sovereignty to me? It would be being able to stand in your own sovereignty, your own authority, your own power, and being financially stable and sufficient off of that. So we're really giving an air of like self sufficiency, and it can mean different things to different people. It totally can mean different things to different people. Like, is it something like you want to be an entrepreneur, or do you want to be in the corporate world, or what? A combination of both. Maybe you want to be a business owner in the corporate world, or you just don't care about anything and you just want to help people. But obviously, we live in a society that requires money, so we got to be able to eat and pay bills and all of that. Unless you're one of those very fortunate people who have all of your resources set up and you have like a self sufficient homestead where you grow and raise your own food and you are like, self sufficient off the grid, whatever. But from somebody like me, it's like, how do you get to that point, right? Because I would love that. That's the dream life, right? That's the goal. But realistically speaking, for the average of us, it's not actually feasible. And I'm sitting here thinking about, like I said, life, labor, whatever. And every day I can feel like the nudges of like the matrix trying to call me back in, right? Hang on, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry. My children were fighting over a shark pillow. What was I saying? Anywho, yeah, I can feel, for lack of better words, the matrix calling me back every single day. And what I mean by this is the way that society traditionally operates. In terms of finances, financial sovereignty, or whatever, this would really be. Sorry, wanted to make sure the microphone was still working. This would really be for me like going back to the corporate world, because right now I'm a stay-at-home mom, and while financially, obviously we all have to do something, I really, really, really want to follow my dreams and my passions and my desires. But I'm at a point right now where it's not necessarily like what I'm putting in it, I'm not getting out of it, right? And that's okay. I understand everything does take time, but I'm feeling, again, for lack of better words today, magical today. Like I'm actually like believing like, hey, this could be possible. I could absolutely do it. Without getting into the brass tacks of everything, it is possible. It's absolutely within the realm of possibility. And pulling it into like the full moon today, there's some like conjunction something with Jupiter and Venus. I think, don't quote me on that, I'm not an astrologer, but with the full moon in Aries. Now Aries is the very start of the zodiac wheel. Aries, they tend to be very excuse me, act now, ask questions later. And as somebody who is an Aries rising, that personal placement of mine is very, very helpful because my other signs are earth signs and they're just slow as molasses. Like, I love my routines. I love to do things in the right way and this and take time and think about it. And I'm like, I'm very, I'll get stuck in analysis paralysis if it wasn't for my Aries rising, which just kind of makes me jump in head first. Sometimes I regret it and I'm like, oh my God, I bit off more than I can chew. But I usually end up eating my full meal, like, again, for lack of better words. But so this moon in particular, the last few eclipse cycles have been on the Aries Libra axis. Then this is like the very first full moon where it doesn't have an eclipse associated with it. So it's almost kind of like just a fresh clearing. And word on the street is to clear out literally everything that doesn't serve you. And what I'm really referring to here in this reading is your limiting beliefs around financial sovereignty. Jupiter is the planet of abundance, the planet of expansion, and Venus is the planet of beauty and sensual things, and so on and so forth. So if it is true, and what I'm thinking that the trine is, or whatever that they're saying that this moon is, everybody is just claiming that not only is it really good for clearing out whatever, full moons are always good for that, but for really setting the intentions about what it was your dream life could be. So if you could expand in all the ways you wanted to expand, and Venus, you think about, she's what makes life beautiful and enjoyable, aesthetically, whatever, those type of vibes, right? And this moon, with it not being in an eclipse, where it has been in an eclipse for, the last few eclipse seasons, now our eclipse axis is on Virgo Pisces, which I actually find very beneficial as a Virgo. Personally, I like working with eclipse energies. A lot of people dissuade against it though, because it can be chaotic. So rightfully so, now that the eclipses are kind of ceased, now would be the time to put in the manifestations. And I'm sitting here thinking like, well, what do I want to do for this full moon? Do I want to do like, and I just, normally I do like clearing and stuff like that or whatever. If I even feel called to do anything at all, sometimes I don't, but sometimes I do. But anyways, I'm just thinking like manifestation, like thinking big, and the financial sovereignty just keeps coming back around for me. Like, but at the same time, like I said, I can feel the matrix calling me every single day. Like, do you go back to the corporate world? Which notably so, I've always excelled in the corporate world, but I hate being held within the traditional paradigms. I love the flexibility of being able to set my own schedule and to work when I want to or when I have to, or more so when I'm in alignment to, when I feel called to. And I'm a hustler, make no doubt. Like, I could work 3, 4 jobs at a time and get my money if I need to. But I don't like doing that. I don't like working myself into burnout. And then it's like, I think about when I got into trucking, because I've got a Class A CDL. So it's like I could always go out and go into some sort of trucking, right? And depending on the type of thing that you're doing, there could be some flexibility in it. But if not flexibility, you at least get to travel and whatever if you're doing long haul. But I think about where my priorities are in life right now, and they're on my family. I've got young children. And as I contemplate going back to the corporate world, I think of childcare. And yes, I could send them to a regular daycare. But for my kids, I'm not going to find anything under anywhere from $500 to $800 a week. Now, if I find something that would actually enrich my children's lives, as far as like a more school setting, I called around not that long ago and had gotten price quotes for like some Montessori school and stuff. And for a week, I actually feel like I have it written down. Yes. For 1 week, it would be $2,125 per week. So it's like you think, okay, well, if I go back to corporate world, um, does it even make sense to do that, right? And I think more than anything, I need to record this video and put this out because I'm like contemplating life, right? And there's always so many different adjacent options on which route you can take. And the answer is there's no right answer. And why I want to make this video today on this full moon is because for one reason or another, my mind has brought it to my attention today to believe in the impossible or the seemingly impossible, and to make my gap between what I think I can do or what I know I can do versus what I think would be a great possibility, to kind of bridge the gap to make the impossible seem possible. And I just want to invite you to do the same, even if you aren't like, going to be lighting a candle and burning some bay leaves and like making wishes or whatever. Like, you don't have to do stuff like that. But think about it. Like, think about if you had no limitations and you got to wake up and do what you wanted to do every day, what would that be? Would you still be waking up and going to your regular 9 to 5 job? Right. And I want to preface this by saying I'm not encouraging anybody to quit their job or anything like that. I understand we all have needs to take care of, but there's a lot of people who build their passion side by side, their regular job that they have to take care of, and work on their passions and stuff as a side hustle until they're able to make the full switch. But you should at least keep that door open and invite in the possibility that you can too be financially sovereign, where you can stand within your own authority and make, finances doing things that you enjoy. And we're not just meant to come here and live and work and be miserable and have 1 or 2 days off a week and to enjoy ourselves and then go back to it. Like, we literally live on a fucking floating rock in the middle of space with an abundant amount of resources, all of the resources that we need. The fact that we have to fucking work and grind and fucking waste our time and energy building other people's dreams and this and that. The shit is a fucking scam. It's a goddamn illusion. That's why I call it, like, say the Matrix is pulling me back in every day, because it's so easy. It's so easy. And it's like me, I really can be kind of like a jack of all trades, where I can focus on the things that I want to focus on and this and this and that. And I have a plethora of passions that I would like to pursue and I would like to explore. And maybe I do something for a little bit and I decide, hey, I really don't like that, or that doesn't really make me happy. But it is so easy to just go out and get a job and work that job and have that pay all your bills. And then you plan your vacation once a year and this and this and that. And it's like, it's so easy to do that. But for one reason or another, I have never really wanted to take the easy route in my life. Sometimes I do, and sometimes you got to do what you got to do to make sure that, you and yours are taken care of course. But in the back of my mind, there was always something more to me. And I could be like working a warehouse job and I'd have my headphones in all day learning something that I wanted to learn, listening to like marketing stuff, or listening to, well, it was kind of before podcasts really got popular, but nowadays, like, podcasts. And it's just like following my little passions and this and this and that, because one day I've always wanted to be self-sufficient. And I feel like right now I'm about on a precipice of, well, do I cave and go back to corporate, or do I see my passions all the way through and take that leap of faith in knowing that the universe is going to provide for me no matter what? And I really have done a lot of subconscious reprogramming on my internal beliefs around money. And I started the work way back in like 2017. And I can tell you, when I first started it, my life got really fucking crazy. And I started trying to do all this crazy manifestation stuff. And then I got into a car accident. And granted, the car accident, my corporate job that I had at the time, they put me on short-term disability. And I was on short-term disability for a grip of a minute. And then as soon as I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to work, they're like, nope, we're closing. We're closing down your job. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, we're just going to give you a severance package, which was cool. Okay. And I got paid my full salary for a while. And then after that ran out, then technically I could draw up an unemployment. And it was the weirdest thing, because it was like I asked to be paid and provided for without actually having to work. And well, I got my wish. Next, I learned to be a little bit more careful about, be careful what you wish for. But that little time period really like set me up. And I was just like, hey, damn, like I'm always provided for. And even when things were like come close and I was like, oh no, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills, something would always come through at the last minute. So now I like truly believe like shit always works out for me, even when it doesn't seem like it. And then of course, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to like trucking. So I decided to go and I was going to use my tax return that I got for that year, and I was going to put myself through trucking school. And I actually had like financial aid come through, and I didn't have to pay anything to get my CDL. I just had to show up and go to school. I was required to go out and get a job that's, irrelevant from the financing and this and that. I had some other personal stuff going on in my life that required me to work, but I just worked like once or twice a week. And I just went and I was a receptionist, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, yep, I've got a job now. Can't say anything. But now like I literally have nothing. There's no bearings that say I can't do something. And except for myself. Because it's like you always have that survival mindset that wants to creep back in, and it's like, no, you need this job, you need to do this, you have to do things in the traditional way. And I just sit back and I remember that I'm not here to live a traditional life, and I'm actually here to teach people and show people that they can do things in a different way, that you don't have to like you don't have to live within the paradigm of society, because the paradigm of society is changing, and we are the ones who are actively changing it with the actions we choose every single day. So with that being said, I'm just going to pull one card on what we need to know about financial sovereignty. And I hope that this has at least, look, door to values on the bottom of the deck, and then door to spirit. It's like God himself is literally saying, like, I did not put you here so you could slave labor away at a corporate 9 to 5. Like, I put you here to live and to be happy. What is this? Appreciation. And it's appreciate the life and the opportunities that you've been given, and lean into that full appreciation of it. And really think about it today. Think about how you could be financially sovereign. And yeah, look, we've got door to spirit again. Door to spirit, door to value. It's you can't make this up, really. Consider this as like a divine message or a message from the divine to rethink how you have value into it, because let me tell you, there's no scarcity, there's no limit of resources, there's no, oh my god, the rich have it all and the poor have the none. It's like those are just programmings that society has placed on you. And while I understand socioeconomic classes, and sometimes some people are born with silver spoons and some of us are not, okay? Some of us have to work hard for our money. But that in itself is usually, almost like a generational curse that can be broken, because who says you have to work hard for your money? Who? Who said that? Who told you that? Okay? That just because that's what they believe doesn't mean that that's what you have to believe. You could literally do something that you love every single day and get paid for it. If you're a painter, you could paint one painting and sell it for $500,000 or whatever, and then there's your house. Fucking make little videos of you being, Bob Ross status, and let people pay you to watch you do your passion. Something along those lines, okay? So I realized this video wasn't very structured in a way that is practical, but I hope that whoever it came across and made it all the way to the end, I hope that you did find some value in it, and at the very least it will get those wheels turning in a way that makes you believe in what others tell you is unbelievable, because your existence can't be that magical. You just have to believe that it's possible. So, anyways, I love you guys. Make it a good day.